Hi, everybody. Mark Victor Hansen here with my wife, and we're interviewing one of the. Let me start again. Sorry.
Yeah. It's
I'm
okay.
just so excited to do this.
I'm gonna go like.
Hi, everybody. Mark Victor Hansen here, best known as the world's best-selling author, co-creator of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, where we sold 500 million books. But today we have something extraordinary for you. But first, let me just say that my beloved, beautiful wife, who I call the goddess of exquisiteness, and I are going to get to interview one of the most extraordinary minds of our time. And yes, he's a founder, and yes, he's a chairman and a CEO of a great company called NuCalm. But this is the breakthrough products of all breakthrough products. His name is Jim Poole. He and his twin brother have done extraordinary things. Jim, tell us, how did you start this company? Where does the story begin?
For us, it begins in 2009, but the neuroscientist, quantum physicist, Dr. Blake Holloway, began his quest in 1990. And the whole premise was, how can we create a way to safely and predictably lower brainwave function, which is a challenging concept for many, to a place where the body's allowed to heal without medication. So it took this brilliant scientist 19 years to figure this out because of the complexity of the human brain. You'd expect it to take a long time. And in 2009, David Poole and myself got involved in this, and we took the idea and the concept, and we brought this to life.
So with NuCalm, I hear you talk a lot about frequency medicine, drug-free medicine. Talk to the listeners about frequency. What is frequency, and why do they need to understand frequencies now as they're looking at their health challenges?
Well, as Einstein said, everything's vibration and everything has a frequency, and that's hard for people to understand. The human brain, for all of our complexity, it's a challenge for us to understand what's intangible. So if I said to you, this table has a frequency, it doesn't make sense to a lot of us. Everything has a frequency, and in the human brain, our brainwave, your brainwave, my brainwave, everybody's brainwave oscillates in a frequency range of 41 hertz, and there are 5 categories, and many have heard of delta and theta and alpha. Those are slower frequencies in sleep. And then beta and gamma are more active frequencies. So the game here and the challenge was this. Since the dawn of humankind, humans have either discovered or created ways to change their state of mind and how we feel. So today, if you're feeling mentally lethargic, you might have espresso, Red Bull, 5-Hour Energy, Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts. It's not magic. It increases your frequency. If people are having a tough day, they may have some alcohol. That's not magic either. It slows down your frequency. If you're feeling anxious, you may take an anti-anxiety drug. If you're feeling depressed, you may take an antidepressant drug. And if you're having trouble sleeping, you may take a sleeping pill. So humans, for all of our complexity, we haven't really figured out how to manage our state of mind. And most of us don't even think about this. This is just part of our life. Well, what we figured out was a way to manage your frequency on demand with no drugs, using complex physics and frequency modulation.
So we're talking about frequency here, and just so you understand how frequency works, your heart beats 72 times a minute. That's 37 million times a year. That's what frequency is. It's that easy. It's that simple. So what happened at that first meeting with you and Dr. Holloway?
Well, first of all, Blake was an amazingly gifted human and exceptionally bright. We would say he's a genius amongst geniuses. And we saw this for years in the presence of other geniuses, their deference to his genius. So you knew you were in the presence of something extraordinary. But I think it was his compassion and his humility and desire to serve that really won me over and David Poole as well. So conceptually, when you're speaking to someone this bright, he simply made this statement. Jim, I've invented a technology that quickly and safely and predictably relaxes the mind and body within minutes without any drugs. Think about that. Where have you ever heard that before? How often do you hear something you've never heard before? Conceptual, I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And so that was the beginning of this relationship. And then 2 key things happened. One, after 10 weeks of conversation and really getting to know this person and also understand the science as much as we could, we flew down to Texas and we tried it. So in frequency, words have a difficult time articulating what that even means. So it's an experience. Well, NuCalm was an experience. So I experienced it. And invariably something happened, and it was dramatic. I felt amazingly mentally clear, physically relaxed, and I felt amazing. And I shouldn't have, because I had just traveled internationally and I was jet lagged. And then the third thing that happened was we went out and we had an intellectual property group do an assessment of what we were working on. You guys are bright. Sometimes your intuition is quiet to your brain because your brain says, this seems too good to be true. Yeah. So we're battling. Intuition, I don't want to get burned. Is this good? Is this not good? We kind of intuitively believed that this was like an Indiana Jones archaeological dig. We kind of felt like we found something. Well, when the intellectual property attorneys came back and said, if you get this patent, you will have the only patent in the world for managing human stress and sleep without drugs. Wow. So that was the defining moment to say, that is the validation we needed to know we truly found a diamond in the rough.
Wow. So it's just such an interesting transition because to me, you're the least likely guy to get involved in something like this. I mean, you were a Wall Street guy. You were the fast-paced, hectic, have it all kind of guy. And then you experience this and everything changes. So when did you first start NuCalm? When did NuCalm come to life?
November 5th, 2009, NuCalm came to life, selling a $6,000 FDA Class 3 medical device to doctors. So therein lies the birth of 19 years of research and development and trial and error and clinical studies. Wow. 15 years ago.
And you're saying people were paying $6,000 for this?
$6,000.
$6,000, and I think you mentioned once you sold a lot of those.
Over $30 million worth of NuCalm.
Oh my goodness.
And what's funny is it looked like something pieced together at Radio Shack with technology built in 1976 East Berlin. I mean, this was interesting, but the outcome was so profound in a clinical environment and in a surgical setting. Yeah. There was doctors who said to us afterwards, I'd pay $45,000 for one system because of the value it provides me as a clinician. I'm able to work. They'd say, you turn a patient into a monk within seconds. I'm working on someone who I'm not liable for. I'm not compromising their central nervous system. I'm not putting drugs on them. I'm operating on someone who's still and available to me. I'm doing my best work, and they're healing faster. So yeah, there's many mind benders in this story.
There sure are, boy. It's fun to watch the journey and look at how far you've come with this.
So you say it's the remote control system of the brain. What does that mean, and how does that apply, and what are the results?
From 2009 to 2021, we were a complicated, 4-component, expensive Class 3 medical device. It wasn't easy. We weren't promoting this to people because you didn't have access to it. So along the way, David and I had witnessed many surgeries. So if you want to know the power of frequency, sit in an operatory and watch a surgical procedure, which is barbaric and it's cold and it's bloody, and the person is not on general anesthesia. They have headphones on and an eye mask, and they're listening to our physics while we host their brainwave function at 4 hertz, just above deep sleep. They're in this state. It's kind of like half hour after your turkey dinner where you kind of know where you're at, but you don't care. That's that lucid dream state of theta. So in this lucid dream state, we witnessed all these surgical procedures. And it doesn't, you don't have to go through the FDA and have to go through patents and have to go through research. All you have to do is witness this magical environment. Like, we did so many before and after videos of surgical patients, and it was palpable their stress level before surgery. Their neck is red, their saliva's messed up, their eyes are darting, they're speaking unintelligibly. And then after the surgery, they look in the camera and say, I knew you were operating on me. I couldn't find a place to care. How did we do this?
Wow.
So Dr. Holloway, we said, Doc, if we can take everybody's brain to 4 hertz, doesn't matter how stressed you are, and hold you there, can we take you to 0.5 hertz deep delta sleep? Yes. Can we take you to the creative zone at 7.83 hertz? Yes. Can we take you to focus at 18.4 hertz? Yes. Can we take you to high intensity at 41 hertz? Yes. You see, the beauty of working with a genius amongst geniuses is we never heard no. However, Blake had Asperger's. And with Asperger's, executive functioning, some logic pathways, some operational efficiencies, deadlines, how and when weren't really visible to the human eye. So they just kind of came. And so from 2009 to 2021, we're a single product company, $6,000 device. Wow. From 2021 to present, we are now 6 products. Those 6 products manage all 5 categories of your brain. And we were able to successfully transition from a complicated medical device, for the first time in history, this has not been done before, to a mobile app. Why did we do that? We're not a mobile app company, but we want to serve. And if you don't make it easy for humans, they will find excuses not to take care of themselves. So today, when we say a remote control for your brain or having the power of your brain in the palm of your hand, it's because we took all of this ability for you to control your state of mind, how you feel in the present moment, through a mobile app. And you simply select what you want. Hey, I want to focus. You select it. Our neuroscience does the work.
So how many years total, like this was quite a journey, how many years total of this collected neuroscience that's clinically proven do you have at this point, Jim?
35 years.
35
year journey.
I mean, wow. So people who use NuCalm are literally getting 35 years of proven neuroscience.
It's amazing. And
That
it
is
makes you think
amazing.
maybe we're lazy, maybe we're underachievers, maybe we're slow. None of those are true. The complexity of the human brain demands complex solutions.
Yeah.
And the coolest part about being a pioneer is there's no roadmap. There's no point of reference for us to look at. And
So
we
true.
are as curious and as inspired as anybody else. And so we kind of, if you look back now in the last 20 years, wow, how did we get to all these places? You can see points of inflection, you can see decision points, but it's been a fascinating journey. And it gets us so excited to be where we're at today. Because for beginning in 2016, our quest was, how do we make this affordable, accessible, and easy to use? And voila, we're here.
Now, you've aggregated the best mastermind team ever, medical doctors, researchers, academicians, all putting the same value into one little product generically called NuCalm. Tell us about how many you've got and what's happening.
Well, academicians and research scientists and doctors have an expertise in their craft.
Right.
So we went to them with humility and said, hey, our scientist is smarter than you. And they said, what? And we said, this is what we invented. And they said, how? We said, we don't know. Will you validate this? So we built an advisory board of 52 of the leading brains on this earth, from statistical biophysicists that I didn't know was an occupation you could pursue, to psychoneuroimmunologists, which I also didn't know was an occupation you could pursue. 52 people. We did not buy their voice. We did not influence their decision making. We said, hey, you're going to join our medical advisory board and you're going to build whatever research design you want. We're not the expert, you are. And you're going to either corroborate that this works or you're going to tell us it doesn't. That's how we started. The entire path beginning in 2009 began with having this established board, because David and I and our team, we did not know the capability and we also didn't know the validity of this. We just saw the impact. Well, we needed quantitative measurements for patent law, for FDA, for Health Canada, for military approval. So it's been a fascinating, very, very left brain science journey to now it's more social psychology. How can we help you today resolve problems that have been plaguing you?
I love that, because that's the need out there. Everyone needs this, and it's just so exciting. And I'm just thinking, why was it NuCalm that was awarded the first patent for systems and methods to balance and maintain the health of the human autonomic nervous system? I mean, that's a pretty hefty patent.
That's a big one. That's a keeper. You might want to keep that one.
It's pretty unbelievable.
Beginning in 2009, we began doing research, and we studied 2 populations, because you learn the most from the extremes.
Yeah.
So we studied stage 4 cancer and the Chicago Blackhawks professional hockey team.
Interesting.
And using statistical biophysics work from Dr. Chung Kang Pang, who's the most accredited expert in heart rate variability. This gentleman by himself has over 62,000 medical citations, which is more than universities have collectively as a whole. So he's a freakishly brilliant mathematician. He's the one who analyzed all the data. So the level of specificity and reliability of the data is irrefutable. So for 5 years, we studied these populations. And what we showed, and this is fascinating, within a 5-minute period, we reduce all of your sympathetic tone, which is your stress response, and we hold you in this parasympathetic dominant state of relaxation and healing and restoration. It's like a lucid dream state. And when you take NuCalm off, the headphone and the eye mask, you return to full lucidity immediately. We showed this amongst the population over 5 years of the extreme, near death and high performing athletes. And on July 2015, we were awarded the first and only patent in the world for managing the autonomic nervous system. Now, most people don't even know what that is, but when you learn that the autonomic nervous system manages your digestion, your heart rate, your breath, your fight or flight and survival mechanism, your fear, your stress, your anxiety, yeah, that's a big one. So yeah, that was another validation point because we didn't think we'd get it.
Right.
We were asking for a lot.
Yeah.
But we came with the best and the brightest with irrefutable evidence. And there's 27 claims on that patent. It's not like, hey, you have this little piece. We own the whole aspect of a method used to relax the human brain.
That's amazing. Congratulations on all that. But NuCalm is also the only company ever to get an FDA Class 3 medical device for the treatment of anxiety, depression, and insomnia. Any one of those would be a big, big deal, but you've got all of those achievements under your belt. Would you talk to that, please?
I would love to. It's a manifestation and result of balancing the autonomic nervous system. So cause and effect. We balance the autonomic nervous system. Using frequency, we go to your reptile part of your midbrain, which is the source of anxiety and depression, and a lot of stress is comorbid with sleep issues. Okay, there's an incompatibility between those two. So the fact that we balance your autonomic nervous system allows your body to get into balance, which we call homeostasis, and allows the body to be in a healing state. Anxiety is a fast forward, and it's an accumulation of all this worry that creates an accelerated heart rate, shallow breath, and this chaotic loop. Well, when you balance the autonomic nervous system, you shut that down. Depression, same. Sleep. So what's interesting is that early on, when we achieved that patent and the FDA clearance for the treatment of those aspects, we never really anchored our marketing around it because we felt like if we said, hey, we can solve your anxiety problems, we're judging you. We're putting a label on you. And we had to be really careful. So we chose, and this may have been the right or wrong path, but it was the path of the most compassion and least judgment. We chose to put our anchor to the world and say, we have solved your stress. We don't manage your stress. We don't put a Band-Aid on your stress. We don't medicate your stress. We go right to the midbrain, and using frequency modulation, we solve your stress every day. And by doing that, we've solved your sleep. So we have anchored in stress and sleep. But scientifically, behind the scenes, when you peel back the onion, you'll see FDA cleared for the treatment of insomnia, anxiety, and depression.
So I want to ask you about binaural beats. You know, you can comb the internet, and I've heard for many years about, you know, the binaural beats technology. How does NuCalm differ from binaural beats?
Thank you very much for this question because we're a science company. Remember, 35 years of neuroscience and patents and regulatory. So sometimes we get the question, hey, Jim or Dave, how's NuCalm different from a 99-cent app? And so we usually apply logic first. We say, well, do you think maybe a $6,000 FDA Class 3 medical device may be different than a 99-cent app? Perhaps. Well, it is. Why? We use binaural beat in our physics platform. How NuCalm works is complicated, but I'm going to simplify it. Ready? We use math and physics in a software bed. Underneath that software, or on top of it, we build music. So you hear music. Music cannot change the state of a human brain. It can elevate your mood. It can't change your state. So we use your ears as a carrier to present your brain with a signal, and your brain synchronizes with that signal. That's how NuCalm works, okay? So binaural beat is really fascinating. It uses the compensatory mechanism of the human brain. The brain doesn't want to be managed, doesn't want to be manipulated, it wants to be in control. So in 1839, a German scientist discovered binaural beat, which is fascinating. What it is you're tricking the brain, and say, for example, if I want to present your brain with a 12 hertz beat, I'll present 512 hertz in the right ear, 500 hertz in the left ear, and the brain subtracts the difference. It says, wait a second, we're not symmetrical. So fascinating enough, it subtracts the difference. This is a carrier of a signal to the brain. The second way that you can carry a signal to the brain is called isochronic waveform. So there's two ways to present your brain with a signal through your ears. So here's what we tell people. If I were to order a pizza and a pizza delivery boy shows up, I don't eat the pizza delivery boy. I eat the pizza. The delivery mechanism is not what's important. What's important, and what took Blake 19 years to invent, is what's on the pizza.
Yeah.
Because binaural beats, the first time you listen to them, they're exceptional. They're mind-boggling. Say you got 18.4 hertz focus. You put it on, you're like, wow, this is amazing. Second time you listen to it, it's really good. Third time you listen to it, it's mediocre. And the fourth time you listen to it, it has no impact whatsoever. Because the human brain has something called a reticular activating system, and it filters out all this material. And it is the best in the world, even better than AI today, at pattern recognition and finding shortcuts. The brilliance of Blake's invention was building a nonlinear oscillating algorithm that always tricks the reticular activating system. So it's not the delivery of what you're presenting my brain. It's what are you presenting my brain? So you deliver it through binaural signal processing, you deliver it through isochronic waveform, but it's the complication, the physics, and the math that's doing the trick.
Fascinating. Wow.
So NuCalm got its patent in 2021 for the method that says you change the state of the human being. What does that mean?
You're having a bad day, the world seems against you, Murphy's Law has started, it's only 7 o'clock. 3 bad things have happened, and you're literally like, I just want to go back to bed. Your energy shifts, and how you think about your day, you are what you think you are, right? You're going to have a bad day.
Yeah.
Or you're amped up and you need to calm down. Or you need to amp up. Great. There's all these different things that are dealing with our frequency and our brainwave. The method that we use, we went through another historic 5+ years of research with scientists and irrefutable evidence to showcase that the method in the software is the only method in the world used to elicit a state change in your brain. So today, we can take you to sleep. We can take you to creativity. We can take you to focus. We can take you to recovery. We can take you to high intensity. That state, no other company on earth can make the claim that they can change your state of mind without infringing on our patent.
Wow. It's extraordinary.
It's extraordinary. And so
Really is.
people come to us all the time. Hey, Jim, what about this gizmo? And hey, Jim, what about this app? And hey, Jim, what about this gadget? And the simple question I asked them, I said, listen, you're a smart person. Ask the people how long it took them to invent this. Because we know it's been 35 years.
Yeah.
We know we went at this with, you can't cut corners when you're dealing with the human brain. We also know that Blake was a genius amongst geniuses. And any time it takes a genius 19 years to figure something out, if you come back to me and say, yeah, they figured it out in 7 months, it's not going to work. Have some humility to understand. If you don't have the humility to honor the complexity of the human brain, don't come and sell garbage to me, because I know intuitively it can't work. And if it does, it'll only work once or twice.
So I know you've done some work, NuCalm has done some work with the military. Love to hear about that. How did the military get involved? What were the results of the trial, or whatever it was that you did with them?
So the military, active DOD,
Okay.
also the DOJ, the FBI, SWAT, the FBI Hostage Rescue Team. We've been working with them for almost 14 years now.
Wow.
And
Fabulous.
so what's fascinating is you can go around this earth and see 8.4 billion people.
Yeah.
And we all have a brain. We all have an
Hopefully.
amygdala. We all have a frequency range. We all operate in the same operating system called the human brain. Therefore, we are all prone to stress on a daily basis. And what people don't understand, and it's something that we really need to better understand as a human species, my stress, the external stimulation around me, is unique to me. And it's unique to you, and it's unique to you.
True.
No doubt.
So true.
But the stress response, once it enters my brain, is identical for all of us. We're not isolated. We're not alone. When I say, hey, you wouldn't understand this, of course I would, because I feel stress every day too. So it's been a fascinating look into the social psychology of humanity. The military came to us for expedited recovery without drugs. So a very complex term, but it really just means, hey, our operators are on a mission. They're going to be sleep deprived. They're going to have to land at 0400 hours. They're going to have to fly. They're going to have to acclimatize to altitude. They're going to be malnourished. But when they get to their target, they have to perform at exceptional high level because their life and other lives depend on it. So we need this tool, Jim and David Poole, to expedite recovery without drugs, so that if we can get 2 hours of restorative sleep in 20 minutes and then go into the mission, it allows our military operators to perform at their highest level. There's an adage in sports, and that is, if you think, you stink, okay? We have what I call the itty bitty shitty committee. We're all familiar with this. It's behind every single person's eyes.
Right.
And it's that little group of voices that says, you're not good. No one cares. No one likes you. No one's going to understand a word you have to say. And the person speaking after you is awesome, and you stink. That's the itty bitty shitty committee. We all have it. So if we are prone to insecurity, confusion, can you imagine being a military operator on a mission with 11 other operators with you on your team with a defined goal, in the dark, in chaos, and you're sitting there wallowing in, confusion and insecurity? No. So expedited recovery without drugs is how we've helped the military operators. And it's been such an honor and a privilege for us. I didn't know much about the military before this endeavor. Working across all of the outfits, Navy SEALs, Special Forces, Special Operations Command, Border Patrol, BORTAC, BORSTAR, the FBI. You work with all these operators, and you can't help but say thank you so much for sacrificing your life. You may still be alive, but when you were 18 years old and you enlisted, you had no idea the sacrifice that you were going to make to protect us. The home of the free because of the brave. It's such an honor for us to help the military. We love that. And then on the other side of the equation is the veteran community.
Oh, yeah.
Active DOD have a need to protect. Veteran community, we should be protecting them. They come back and they need to assimilate into civilian life. They're damaged. They have trauma. They have TBE. They have CTE. They have TBI, whatever. It's very, very challenging to assimilate into civilian life when you can't see my wounds.
Yeah.
You don't know, but my kids look at me differently. My spouse looks at me differently. I'm not the same person. I don't have the same connective tissue. I live in fear and agitation and confusion and constant state of hypervigilance. So it's been an honor for us to help both active military to protect us, but also the veteran community.
We're just so happy that you're doing this. And it's also amazing to us that NuCalm has done 2,400,000 surgical procedures without one adverse outcome, and it's an alternative to general anesthesia. Would you talk to that, please, and give one or two examples?
There's not a lot of surgeons who really like being anesthesiologists. There just aren't.
No.
They're there to do a job. The opportunity to work on a patient is not compromised. Central nervous system depressant to knock you out, you're still available. You're just knocked out. And there's an aphasia aspect to it to protect you from the chaos. There's a lot of people that are still awake in surgery, but the aphasia aspect of it, you lose that memory pattern. So for a clinician to work on somebody who's still, who's calm, who's available, and is literally in this state just above deep sleep, that gives that surgeon a lot more confidence. And the body is less resistant. When you're like this, like a meditating monk, and you're being operated on, it's a lot better than this, because blood flow, metabolizing through local anesthetic or general anesthesia, saliva, all these aspects of our body that's a mechanism of fight or flight is all remediated. You're literally working on a monk. So yes, clinicians for years have said, hey, I love this because it allows me to be a better surgeon, a better doctor, a better clinician, and my patients heal faster because the stress response is mitigated immediately. Stress impacts healing because the body's inflammation response brings so much, it overcompensates, and that's where the pain and the healing is compromised.
Tell us about your efforts with people battling cancer. I know you've done some of that work.
So in our 15 years of incredible experiences, by the way, we feel so blessed and honored to be in a position to serve and to take care of people.
Yes.
And it's a great honor to take care of those who have sometimes the quietest voice and the biggest need.
Yeah.
So you're diagnosed with cancer. In that diagnosis, as the medical oncologist is saying the C word off their tongue to your ears, your body has a visceral reaction. And this is human nature. And your fight or flight mechanism, your amygdala, activates and takes full control of you immediately. And you can't talk yourself out of it. You think immediately the worst. I'm going to die. How much time do I have?
Right.
So all of these things happen. The challenge and the irony is that when you need sleep and restoration the most, you're going to get it the least because your monkey mind and your fear response is dominating your body's healing. So in 2014, under the guidance of Dr. Janet Ranicky, an MD, PhD, and a psychoneuroimmunologist who's been helping people heal from cancer for more than 40 years, Dr. Michael Gallitzer, Dr. Rao from Switzerland, a whole group of amazing people, created something called the Comprehensive Cancer Wellness Program. And NuCalm was fundamental to the first experience. So NuCalm's gift to cancer is an opportunity on a daily basis for you to use our rescue product, which literally suspends your brainwave in 4 hertz and allows your body to restore and heal on demand.
Beautiful.
30 or 40 minutes a day, we solve your stress. Deep sleep at night, we solve your sleep. And we tell people, say, listen, NuCalm doesn't cure cancer. That's not what we do. Your body can do this if given the tools to get into balance. So if we can liberate the chaos of fear and stress and worry and overwhelm and expectation and confusion in the medical system and all these appointments I have, and we can give you peace of mind, restoration, cellular healing, and sleep, you win. Every month, we present to this group. Every month. It's been 11 years now. 2 months ago, on a Monday morning, presented to about 26 people with stage 4 cancer. And before we got started, Jan said, Dr. Ranicky said, Mr. Poole, we have a special guest today. And she announced her name and said, she was at our first event. This is going to make me cry here. October 2014, she was given 30 days to live. Get your affairs in order.
Oh, wow.
And she's here right now, 11 years later.
Praise God.
So I looked at the 26 people and I said, start making plans for your 11-year anniversary as well, because you're not going anywhere. How much of a gift is that? So what's fascinating to me is that we have the same technology. NuCalm is the same technology. We're not behind the scenes manipulating the outcomes for different types of humans.
Right, right.
So the military uses it for expedited recovery. The veteran community uses it for complex trauma resolution and addiction. Cancer patients use it to survive. Pilots use it for restorative sleep. We're all the same.
Yeah.
We just happen to have created a way for you to modulate your behavior, your state of mind, and how you feel all the time through an app now. I mean, it's how can we not feel honored and gifted to be in this position?
So beautiful. I mean, the stories are just amazing.
It's heart touching to both of us, and we love what you've covered, but one we didn't cover is professional athletes. Tell us some of the results you're getting with professional athletes.
This is a fun part. There's a strange love affair with professional athletes in our culture, right? Think about it. If you were an alien coming to our country, you'd be like, wait a second.
So true.
These men and women are at the top of the food chain? How'd that happen? Entertainment, man. How many trillions of dollars do humans spend entertaining ourselves, right? The animal kingdom doesn't spend time and energy and effort entertaining themselves. So in 2011, the head trainer of the Chicago Blackhawks had a surgical procedure, and that doctor used NuCalm. And the next day, he called the doctor up, says, what did you do? Because I feel great. He introduced him to NuCalm. Wow. That doctor called David Poole, our chief business officer, and David had a talk with the trainer for the Chicago Blackhawks, explained it to him, and the trainer says, hey, I'm just a tape and gauze guy. This is above my pay grade. But I love what I'm hearing, and I love how it felt. So the Chicago Blackhawks in 2011 were our first professional team.
Cool.
In 2013 and 15, they won the Stanley Cup. And on record,
wow.
Mike Gapsky, the head trainer, said we wouldn't have won the Stanley Cup without NuCalm. That's incredible.
That's unbelievable.
Which demands the question, why? He said 2 things. 1, we want our players to play intense, not tense.
Yeah.
2, the attrition in the Stanley Cup, you're playing the same team, 7 games. You're traveling back and forth. You know the team really well. You hate the team. And it's a battle of attrition. Our players healed faster. And because I've been doing this, he'd been training them for 33 years, I know the healing, how rapid it was. So that began our work in professional athletics. Yeah. Now, for those of you who are starting a business or entrepreneurial and think, hey, I want to get some athletic teams to endorse this, it's not a great marketing avenue. It's a great credibility avenue. It's a great story and great relationships, and we've helped a lot of professional athletes, and we love it. But they don't share their secrets with anybody. including their spouses. We had a leading quarterback years ago, and his wife just had a baby. And David said, "Hey, what's your wife think of NuCalm?" And he says, "I haven't told her about it." He's like, "Dude, happy wife, happy life. Hello, what is the matter with you?" So over the course of time, through this,
Yeah.
through word of mouth and through free agency and trades. I remember after the 2015 Stanley Cup, Mike called David and he was apologetic. He said, "Guys, yeah, several of our players were traded and they took their NuCalm systems with them." And he said, "Are you mad?" And Dave says, "So you mean now the Columbus Jackets and the New York Islanders are using our product?" We're like, "No, we're not mad at all." So over the course of the last 14 years, we have helped 78 professional sports teams.
Wow.
We have helped 58 UFC
Outstanding.
fighters. We have a recovery lounge at the U.S. Open in New York City every year for the last 6 years. We help auto racing, college athletes, you name it. We don't come to them preaching neuroscience. We don't go to them and say, "Hey, let me tell you how your brain works." We simply say, "Hey, would you like to heal faster?" Their schedule is very fixed, and they all have downtime at some point during the day. So they use NuCalm Rescue every day to relax, recover, restore, get rid of inflammation and lactic acid. It's literally gives an opportunity for them to meditate like a monk without ever having to learn how to meditate. They use Ignite to amp up.
Yeah.
Ignite is our get activated and just laser focused in, and then they use deep sleep at night. So it's been a fascinating journey there. If you look at some of the markets that we've impacted, it's really fun and it's also formidable. I mean, there's not a lot of companies that serve the Department of Defense, the Department of Justice, the veteran community, professional athletes, doctors, pilots, cancer patients, and that's been our journey.
So what a fulfilling contribution for you to society. I mean, really, Jim. But I want to know, how has NuCalm impacted your life personally?
I think prior to this, I was plagued. I was 39, 40, I turned 40 running this company, but 39 years old, very ambitious, very aggressive, smart thinker, smart ass, young, and a business leader. And put a lot of pressure on myself, put a lot of pressure on others. Was I don't really reflect back and appreciate the human I was. I was not patient. I was not grounded. I wasn't centered. I wasn't living in the moment.
Right.
I remember many times, I've traveled my whole life, but I remember many times coming home and hearing, "Daddy, Daddy, 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 Daddy." My daughter's right in front of me.
Wow.
It takes her 7 daddies for me to stop the eye gloss and actually look at her. The biggest contribution for me has been to allow me to be me.
Wow.
I no longer burn any calories on stress. I can't tell you the last time I worried. I don't. I have regulated my amygdala and the reptile part of my brain for 15 years every single day. Now, when I first started, I didn't have the discipline because remember, ambitious, hard going, held no quarter, gave no quarter, and just go, 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 go.
Right.
To me, a nap was a failure. I will never nap because that's me failing myself. Who naps? Underachiever and losers nap. Well, that was my mentality. It doesn't make any sense. Then I started using NuCalm, and it took about 7 months for me to make this a regular practice. And I didn't do it because I wanted longevity and lower inflammation and resilience and health. I did it because what I realized was, wait a second, I can get up at 5:30, I can start my day, I can go through my day, and at 1 or 2, when I hit that mental lull, and I'm not that interested in participating in my afternoon, but I see a full schedule, I will go sneak in my bed, and I'll do NuCalm Rescue for 30 minutes. And invariably, I pass out because I'm exhausted. And I come to, and I feel amazing. And now I have the gift of a second day. So I use this as a productivity tool, not as a health tool. I used it to give me the best second part of the day as I got with the first part of the day. I'm an early morning person. So over time, it has done several things to me. Number one, it relinquished my fear of failure, which I think was the underlying drive. And I remember being in my bed in my home in Delaware and getting up and just having this really weird shovel to the face moment with myself and said, wow, this is what's been driving you for so long. You don't need to fear failure. Failure isn't the enemy. you're the enemy of yourself because you're in such fear of failure. So that was a big one. The most tangible one and kind of the coolest one is David and I grew up, we shared a baby apartment in our mother's belly for 9 months, okay? And we grew up as wrestlers and martial artists, and anything you could do with rules to fight and hurt people, we did. We love that kind of energy. And as it turned like 24, 25, I developed a fear of heights. Now, fear of heights have two categories. You're either fear of that height, or your fear of that height is because you want to jump. I have the second one. I want to jump. So if I'm in a mall on a second story, I'm jumping. If I drive over a bridge, I'm driving off the bridge. So this paralyzed me.
Wow.
And I had some really, really humbling, bizarre, humiliating experiences in my business life. Wow. The worst one was at a big function, highfalutin event with BNP Paribas and the Eiffel Tower for dinner, and the elevator stopped working. And I was in full panic. I thought I was going to defecate in my pants. I thought I was going to vomit.
Wow.
About 2 staircases down, I literally saw myself in fetal position, sucking my thumb, calling for my mommy, because I was like, I can't do this. That's how fear of heights I had. 5 years of NuCalm regular practice. I have no fear of heights. 2 months ago, I'm in Abu Dhabi and Dubai with Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
I go to the Burj Khalifa, 149th floor. No issue at all. Zero. So fear of heights, gone.
Gone.
Yay.
Yeah.
And then the last piece of changing my life personally is being present in the moment without judgment. So
That's
I have
a biggie.
I
it's a
love
biggie.
that.
I have
really
the
love
luxury of having a really cool job where we get to talk to really cool people all the time. On my schedule, in a day, I can have a cancer patient, a leading doctor, a professional athlete, a pilot from FedEx, you name it. It's always different, but it's always a full schedule. And I prepare for nothing, and I show up for everything. Because I learned that in 2008, 7, I'd go to Wall Street and present to the smartest men in the room, and the pressure and the expectation. And as I reflect on those days, if things didn't start going my way, I panicked inside. It changed my behavior. So it's really hard for humans to have expectations of others when you don't share what your expectations are of yourself and of them. Yeah. And then we play in this game. So for at least 6 or 7 years, I have prepared for nothing. I look at nothing. I research no one I speak to. I don't even know who I'm speaking to. The other day I spoke to a leading doctor, and she's like, how'd you get to me? And why are you here? And I said, I don't have no idea. I was just told to call you. And she's like, this is amazing. I love gifts like this because every year I meet somebody I'm not supposed to meet, and I guess I'm supposed to meet you. So prepare for nothing, show up for everything has been my moniker, and it's a manifestation of being present in the moment without judgment. And I joke to people, and it's not a joke. I get to think like a monk and act like a capitalist. And it's a really good juxtaposition. And we want this for everybody. I don't want people to burn calories worrying. Worry is interest you pay on a debt you don't owe.
Right. It's a one-way elevator going down.
It does nothing for you.
That is so true.
And how many calories have we burned in our lifetime worrying? Anxiety.
Yeah.
This is a good one. Anticipatory anxiety. Humans have anticipatory anxiety.
That's right.
I'm anticipating having anxiety about a future event that hasn't happened yet. We're insane. So we're here to provide a solution. We're here to provide relief in a safe, predictable manner that's easy, affordable, and accessible.
Last quick, brief question. How do you handle the naysayer that say, Jim, it really sounds great, this NuCalm stuff, but what makes you think it really works, and why would it work on me?
It would be crazy to think that we shouldn't meet skeptics, because we as a human race are sold 1 million things a day, right? And a lot of times they make claims that they can't back up. So when you get burned 1,000 times in your life, you're like, oh, you know what? This sounds too good to be true. Of course it does. It sounded too good to be true to me. It sounded too good to be to David Poole. This sounds too good to be true. So here's what we've done. Number one, we have all the left brain validity and credibility that will help any skeptic. Use logic. Do you think a military operator, a special forces operator, is going to use a product for 14 years if it doesn't work? Do you think the military, who spent 13 months evaluating NuCalm, are going to put a product on the brain of an operator without fully vetting it? Do you think we'll do 2,400,000 surgeries? Probably 15,000 today alone. Right? So people say,
Right.
I'll say, hey, why don't you go have a surgical procedure, listen to Calm, tell me how that goes. It's not going to go well because there's no science behind it. No. So we have the left brain piece. But if logic doesn't work, what we've done is we've created a 7-day free trial. So don't take my word for it. Don't believe me. You don't need to. Try it.
Believe yourself.
Exactly.
Believe yourself.
Yeah. Test it.
Yes. And if you don't believe yourself, come back to me and we'll find you a doctor because you're going to need some help.
Well, this has been wonderful. I'm just so glad we got to do this together today and learn more about NuCalm. It is one of the more fascinating technologies, honestly, we've ever heard of. I mean, we love it.
We love using it every day.
We love having you using it every day. We love our family members.
Yes.
And we tell people, welcome to the NuCalm family. And the NuCalm family, we stay together. So
We do.
thank you for having me. This has been wonderful.